significant on this point because some of the people that is joining might be still in the morning and some of us, it's already afternoon here in the US. So, I mean, in the East Coast of US. Thank you very much for joining this webinar today. We're still having people joining the conversation, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. We're going to talk about the cost-efficient contract manufacturing value proposition of Costa Rica. And I would like to invite everybody to please mute your mics. If you have any question, please feel free to use the chat. There is a chat right in the middle bar of your screen. So please feel free to make as many questions as you want. We will try to answer all these questions as we go. Or at the end of the conference, we will allow everybody to open their mics at the end of the conference if you have any question. Today, we have the opportunity to explain the value proposition of Costa Rica, as I mentioned, but I want to spend a little bit of time talking a little bit about Procomer and what is our role in this process. We are mainly actually the export promotion agency of Costa Rica. As many of you know, we promote the Costa Rican exports of goods and services around the world. We are a facilitator to introduce you to the best Costa Rican companies and products and of course services. Our goal is to establish a mutual beneficial business relationship that helps your company to grow internationally. We have a strong network of experts and supporters around the world. As you can see in this slide, we have offices around the world that work hand in hand with companies in the industry and companies interested to see what Costa Rica has to offer. With 40 offices around the globe, we have 3 in the US, we have 3 in North America, 2 in the US, and 1 in Canada. Here are the names of and the people that you will recognize when you get close to us if you are based out of Canada or in US. Either Zacharias and myself, we both lead the implementation of the commercial promotion of the strategy of Costa Rica here in the US. And in Canada, Ms. Michelle Coriols is responsible for having these type of conversations, and she will be happy to talk further with each one of you to develop more opportunities for your company and your products. I want to start presenting the speakers of today's session. I mean, it's a little bit odd, but I have to start with myself. I know that we shouldn't do that, but I mean, in these type of forums, it's important to introduce ourselves. My name, it's Michael Lopez. I am the director of the trade office of Procomer in New York. I've been in the industry or supporting this type of engagements during the past 20 years. I have a lot of expertise working with value-added companies and companies in the technology industry. And with that, my credentials support the development of strong ecosystems of business opportunities for companies in Costa Rica. I'm a master's degree in economics and another master's degree in management of technology and innovation from the New York University. We're also having David De Faria, who is the advanced manufacturing and medical device engineer of Procomer. He works hand in hand with all the international offices of Procomer to promote the medical device value proposition and the capabilities of our contract manufacturers. David also leads the Industrial Design Association of Costa Rica. He is a Master of Engineering in Medical Device, magna cum laude, with more than 12 years of experience in supply chain, project management, industrial design, research and development, marketing, and foreign trade. And we're also having Mr. Luis Diego Gutierrez. He is a member of the Costa Rica Med Supply, which is the medical device cluster of Costa Rica. Luis Diego is a bachelor's degree in international relations with emphasis in commercial politics. He has knowledge in digital marketing, in market research, international negotiations. He has more than 5 years working with medical device industries in activities related to strategic planning, commercial promotion, and sales. So during our conversation today, we want to convey the main drivers of success that Costa Rica had in order to offer to international companies that wanted to increase value in your products and services. We want to also to reinforce the engineering mindset behind the cost-efficient processes and strategies that we implement in the country to establish strong contract manufacturing engagements and the value proposition. We also want to bring you some and provide you some success stories. And of course, the cluster is a significant tool and an instrument we are implementing internally in the country that we believe is important for you to know and to see how that will prompt that message, which is how can you reduce cost efficiently, have a redundant operation, or support your project in a nearshore location. And of course, at the end, I wanted to give you an invite to get close to us through a tool or event called Buyer's Trade Mission. This is going to be our first time doing this event virtual. Of course, we're going through unprecedented times, and we don't want to lose the opportunity to keep going with this event that we've been doing during the past 20 years. And we believe this is a great opportunity to keep these type of engagements virtually. I'm going to talk further at the end of the presentation, but this is an invite for you to get in touch with us, with our suppliers, with our companies, with the companies that had set up an operation as well in the country that could be your supplier as well. We will talk more about it. I want to start this conversation with the takeaway. I mean, what should be the learning you should take, or you should take with you if you decide to stop joining the conversation at this point or this webinar. I believe that the most significant component in here is that we are a proven track record country that has a great potential to support long-term medtech manufacturing projects. And what's behind that? Well, we can assure we have the right technical skill set to support high complex projects. We want to reinforce the fact during this conversation today that we have the capabilities to work from design and prototyping, modeling and simulation to manufacturing and assembly. And that it's to let you know to everybody in the webinar. And once again, thank you very much for joining this conversation with us. For us, it's very important to convey the message that one of the strong differentiators of Costa Rica is our capacity to work under low volume, high mix, that our providers will be able to engage within your supply chain. And of course, we want to remark the presence of our top players and external sources, or those OEMs that had decided to set up an operation in Costa Rica and give us the muscle to say that we are prepared to receive those great projects and or work hand in hand with you to develop new ideas, new med projects in the country. These are the main takeaways, and with that, the way how we are planning to develop these is using the following concept. We have several drivers or components within our magic equation, the magic formula that Costa Rica provides to multinational companies or to companies that wanted to develop a process or a component of your process in the country to get close to that value chain, we believe resides in the following drivers. Number one is our location, strategic location. Two, medtech ecosystem that we have, the right talent, the robust supply chain, and of course the cost-efficient processes that we learn how to implement. So let's walk with us, or let me walk you through this. I'm going to focus on the first three myself, and then I'm going to allow my colleagues, the other two folks I already present, to help me go through the other two. So thinking about the strategic location we have, and of course the economic stability we have been able to assure and to establish through the years, we have to, and we cannot avoid to stop thinking on the right decisions we have taken as a country. The country has abolished the army since 1949, as everybody knows, but more than that, that decision put us on the fundamental next step of investing in what mattered the most, education. And that specifically gives us a strong background of what is going to be the rest of this webinar. We always have to reiterate these elements because, as you might know, and what's going on around the world, we cannot take for granted that having a more than 100 years of solid democracy and economic stability, it couldn't be taken for granted. Economic stability nowadays is a strong statement, and being capable to sustain a country and economic ecosystem through more than 100 years through crisis, I believe that we are in a good place, in a good position to show you that and to make sure that you understand we are through a or you are talking with a strong and potential partner. Our strategic location definitely is defined by two key factors. I think that of course being in the same time zone give us a strong value proposition to pretty much any company located in North America. We are pretty much plus minus 2 hours difference when it comes to the main getaways in the US and in Canada. We have ports in the Pacific and in the Atlantic coast, actually APM terminals for the ones that know this Holland company had invested in the country, a mega container terminal that runs a couple of billions of dollars. And at this point, I am introducing you to a country that had the luck or the advantage of not having business disruptions because of natural disasters. Also, Costa Rica offers a set of tax exemptions as low as 0% that provide or contributes to every single company as a true ROI. The international logistics systems from Costa Rica is strong, is there. It's possible for any company that wanted to develop a process here and wanted to source the rest of the world. We have capability to be in the US by sea in less than 8 days or by air in 1 day. We've been sourcing markets like Europe, Asia, and so on, with not interruptions and with a very strong network of logistic capabilities that definitely could support any operation. Another key component that we are very proud of, and we definitely always like to spend time mentioning these platforms of foreign direct investments that we have been signing during the past 25 years. I think, once again, it's a strong asset we have as a country. More than free trade agreements with more than 50 countries that encompasses a market access for anyone that wanted to do business from our country of around 2.5 billion people that represent 66% of the world GDP. Our exports are pretty much 94% of our exports are covered by a signed free trade agreement, which provide access to, as I said, pretty much almost 55, 57 trade partners, depend on the momentum of the approval of the free trade agreement. But we have free trade agreements with the US, with Central America, Europe, and more. How we want to reinforce, why we want to reinforce the fact that economic stability is part of our alignment to what could be your value proposition if you decide to develop a project in here. Well, I have to reinforce the fact that we have a strategic alignment and commitment with the Sustainable Development Goals, which is one of the country's foundations. The country's policy has been aligned to promote economic development under a peaceful and a strong economic environment, where the rule of law and the implementation of a strategic alliance and liaisons among the government institutions are there to fulfill those objectives, the objectives of developing economic development and economic growth. So these are part of our assets, as I'm saying, that had put us in the position to say that we are one of the happiest countries in the world. How we make, how we have been achieving this? Well, we believe that those strategic decisions that we had been taking in place in the country are part of what we call the virtuous cycle. That it's pretty much a concept that Costa Rica is a briefing lab for development and testing of new solutions and new processes. We believe that there is a dynamic in the country considering those sustainable goals, those strategic bets and strategic decisions that the country had been and all our mandatories had put in place in terms of sustainability and in terms of preserving the environment, that had enabled the attraction and this dynamic ecosystem that nurtures more than 70 medtech leaders in the country and more than 160 IT and centers of excellence globally, which are combined under one of the world's concentration of biodiversities to just drive innovation. What I'm trying to convey in here is that the foundations are being supported by the development of our talent that has in the middle a strong institutional framework. Organizations like Procomer, the Ministry of Foreign Trade, and our sister organizations in the Attracting Foreign Direct Investment. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. Those had been able to give us this mechanism, this virtuous circle that enable the development of creativity and innovation in the country. As a result, to 2019, our GDP per capita is pretty much $18,000. That when you compare from our 1960 GDP of $380, we had a slight growth towards the 1980s, but you have to see the remarkable growth of 315% during the past couple of decades that are basically justified by the right decisions in terms of promotion of our exports and our investment and the attraction of investment. That is the type of business climate that you could face when it comes to bringing a project down to Costa Rica. Pretty much the export capacity, the development of our exports had been one of our great results. We had been able to double our exports during the past 20 years and diversified the basket of our products. When you see this combination, it is so much satisfaction for us to reinforce the fact that many years ago we just were only focused on 2 or 3 type of products, and today the diversification of our export basket is so significant that pretty much 50% of our exports actually are represented by services as well. But this slide is self-explanatory when it comes to what is the composition of our exports. It says a lot the fact of the capacity of our talent to keep going with the main endowments in the agricultural industry, but also that as a result of all those great decisions that have been taken internally, we can see how the medical device industry represents 20% of the value of the total value of our exports. And that actually, it's completely related to where those exports are going, mainly to the US and those markets where we have a free trade agreement. So the second driver I want to spend time and I want you to consider within part of our formula, strategic formula to attract potential projects down to Costa Rica is the number of high-tech life science operations in Costa Rica. As I said before, we are a proven track record country when it comes to demonstrate that multinational companies have decided to come to Costa Rica to set up an operation. We are home of the best companies of the world. We have pretty much more than 300 companies that decide to set up an operation in Costa Rica. 20% of the Fortune 100 companies already decide to set up to be in here. And within the medical device industry, the life science industry, we can say that we have in the country 12 of the top medical device global companies that are performing and developing products in 14 different subsectors. Those, pretty much 8 of those are part of our top 20 exporters. And that represents pretty much 73% of the total exports of the medical device industry. And you can see the logos, and I'm positive everybody recognizes here what we're talking about. But this is more powerful to me. When it comes to those 14 subsectors, please think in this. The type of industries and OEMs and companies that decide to set up an operation thanks to the support of organizations like CINDE, and I keep talking about the institutions behind of making this happen. Many organizations, CINDE as an organization that had been attracting many companies in these sub-industries. So therefore, we have capabilities, and our talent had been exposed to the best processes for the development of devices in areas like dental, cardiovascular, ostomy, medication delivery, radiology, neurovascular, respiratory, aesthetics, endoscopy, as you can see in here, and the names of the companies. Very early, the 2000, it's the time where we date this explosion of companies that decide to come to Costa Rica to set up an operation. As a result, the exports had been exploded during the past 10 years. This is the composition and how it looks, the sales of these companies around the world. I have to say that this is the most dynamic sector of the entire exports, within the entire exports of Costa Rica, representing pretty much 32% of the total exports in 2019. And being the US the first, the top exporter or the most important partner. The majority of these companies are part of what we call the free trade zone regime. Pretty much 99% of the companies that sells medical device industries are located in this within the free trade zone system. When it comes to the industry, we have to recognize that Costa Rica is the second largest exporter of medical device in Latin America after Mexico. And as I said before, we can establish a strong market size by saying that the total medical device exports will range around $3.5 billion. However, the value proposition behind and the message that I want you to follow with me is the strong network of supporting sectors in the country as well. That will range more than $1.5 billion as well. Pretty much all this industry of $5 billion or more will be sourcing from disposables, 43%, that represented 42% in 20 years. I mean, in 20 years ago, we had a high concentration in disposables, but nowadays we range, we developed projects and products that goes from needles and catheters to contact lenses, and being those the most dynamics. So how it looks in terms of numbers, getting close to a picture or helping you to visualize a picture of the size of the market of our med industry in Costa Rica. It is important for you to know that the life science subsectors have grown from 5 in 2000 to 14 times for our ability to grow the talent that the multinationals require from 1,500 to 29,000, and also to grow the number of those companies, or to engage those companies to come to set up an operation from 8 to 69 during the past 20 years. That put us in the position to export more than 3,000, I'm going to say this in American numbers, more than $3 billion. For the rest of us, as you might know, we like to say $3,600 million, pretty much $3.7 billion. So that takes me to the next point, the engagement that we have been able to establish based on the talent that the companies will be able to expose if you decide to come down to Costa Rica to establish new processes or to develop projects in the country, or develop a strong connection with our contract manufacturers. I have to mention that we lead the way on building the skills for the future workforce in Latin America, as pretty much of other world leaders in the world, like Ireland, France, South Korea, and India. Costa Rica's commitment to education and a strong collaborative environment between industries and universities allows us to continuously transform and prepare to host high complex projects in this industry. We're very proud to say that we had been ranked by the Economic Development as #1 in Latin America, that we have a strong ecosystem of education, of educational organizations and institutions that help us be the best educational system in the region. We have more than 100 institutions, more technical institutions in Costa Rica that are offering 55 different specialties in electronics, industrial maintenance, production, quality control, and accounting. We also have one of the key assets that we're very proud of, which is the National Learning Institute of Costa Rica. It's an organization that helped us, it's a government organization that helped us build that technical structure, that technical talent in areas like electronics, material technology, industrial automation, and more. Those persons that wanted to get a diploma can come to the National Learning Institute completely free of charge, and sponsored by the government in order to develop the capabilities that are actually supporting those companies that are here to help these multinational projects. I want to encourage everybody to please close your mics, please, for me. And if you have a question, put it on the chat. My colleagues will share that with me. And of course, I don't want to let aside the amount of universities that we have in the country. So with that, I already mentioned 3 key drivers. I would like to invite David to join the conversation to let us know from his engineering perspective how those companies around the world and how your organization can boost complex projects based on our contract manufacturing ecosystem and of course supply chain, and of course those cost-efficient practices that had been in place in pretty much all contract manufacturers that could assure a substantial reduction in cost. I'm going to close my camera and allow David to keep going with the conversation. David, just in the meantime, you want to take control of the presentation, please? Could you ask for that, or otherwise I can help you keep going with it?
Hi, Michael. How are you? Thank you very much. I'll appreciate if you support me with the presentation.
Happy to, definitely. Let's go ahead for that.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce you some key factors related to Costa Rica medical devices manufacturing. Okay, so related to Costa Rica, we are, let's say, we have a little area where we have a lot of medtech companies, contract manufacturers, and suppliers condensed in a little area. That's important to mention because it's a really a real condensed and huge ecosystem down here in Costa Rica. So related to that, you would be able to go from each production technology of your supply chain in a little area just with 15 minutes from one supplier to another until getting into a sterilizer. In Costa Rica, related to advanced manufacturing, we englobe, let's say, the technologies for medical devices manufacturing, for aerospace manufacturing, and electronics manufacturing that in our case is more related to automotive. In the case of the medical devices ecosystem, we have a cluster that is conformed by the main champions of the medical devices manufacturing sector in Costa Rica. As Michael already mentioned, we have several OEMs that have developed our local capabilities. Okay, so mentioning that, I'm going to jump please to the next slide. Okay, we have increased our capabilities and our technology related to production in medical devices. So we start like 33 years behind with just sub-assembles. Then we start acquiring more knowledge, more certification, more capabilities, and we start making full assemble of medical devices. So we start growing in our capabilities and also with the alignment with other sectors of Costa Rica, as Michael already mentioned, for example, the universities that have change their careers in order to fulfill better the requirements for the professionals that are pushing this development of medical device manufacturing in the country. Right now, we are in the R&D, let's say, stage. We are not only injecting metal machining, assembling. Right now, we're doing. Yes.
We have echo. I think it's the Michael microphone.
Thank you very much. Is it better? Maybe Juan Carlos, you can mute your phone, your mic also. Well, I don't know, but I still hear an echo. No, I think it's fine now. Thank you very much for the alert. Okay, for the warning. Okay, so right now the Costa Rica export annual growth is around the 10%, and in fact, the last year it was a little bit higher. So it is just to explain how we are growing and doing it right for the medical devices sector. So Michael, please, if we can move to the next one. Okay, referring directly to our suppliers by services and products, we have, of course, contract manufacturers here. We have 8 important contract manufacturers with who are vertically integrated with almost all the technologies required to produce medical devices, at least with the requirements that the multinationals, that the OEMs has been requesting to us to have the capabilities. So we have 8 important contract manufacturers that, as I mentioned, have almost all the supply chain vertically integrated, but we also have a lot of other vendors that are focused in some specific fields as electronic manufacturing services. So we have 19 vendors on that, precision machining, 23 tool shops. I will make some more. I will give related to our capabilities on these subsectors, right, or on these production technologies later on this presentation. I already mentioned sterilization, so we have EBIN, ETO, and all the support you would require not only to manufacture here, but also to sterilize here, and if required, send directly to your customers, not only to your warehouse. So that's also an option. We have important molders here who has their capability already installed inside clean room class 8 or class 7 if it's a requirement for you. We have, for example, here suppliers that are not considered contract manufacturers, but has, for example, the molding capabilities and the metal machining capabilities. So this is a kind of those specialized molders for medical devices, and of course, everything done inside the the standardized processes of ISO 13485. Related to extrusion, we also have extrusion, and changing to mandrels and wires. Of course, we have suppliers here, and of course for special coatings if required also, because we've been developing these capabilities here in the past. For example, we machine here a part, and maybe we had to send it abroad to make a special coating. Right now we have been able to develop these capabilities inside the country, and as I mentioned previously, in a little area you will find all this ecosystem. Packaging solutions and printing material, it indicates 12. Of course, we have like 100, but we are just mentioning the ones that are really focused in medical devices that are currently providing IFUs manuals to the MD OEMs around the world. As you know, just for an IFU, here we will measure each IFU just to understand by the weight if it has all the sheets and all the ink, all the printed part that has to be there, and each page would be scanned in order to understand if all the languages are complete in the right-hand part of their section in this IFU or manuals. Related to special finishing, we have again different coatings and finishings that we have been developing locally in order to fulfill the requirements of these important OEMs around the world, and of course the ones that we already have here in the country. And there are a lot, and Michael already mentioned that. Clean room services and suppliers, I mentioned we have most normal class 8 or class 7 clean rooms already available, and again, we also have this kind of empty clean rooms that are waiting for you and for your lines to be transferred to Costa Rica. Related to that, to those clean rooms, of course, we have here the capability to make the analysis and certify that they are compliant with the requirements. And of course, we have all the supporting services that would be required for testing, validation, calibration, microbiology, and several others. Okay, making let's say a zoom in our capabilities related to machining. I would say we have not only great machines but also great people doing great job here in machining, not only in metal but also in different polymers. You will see that we can work here with regular machining, micro machining, and nano machining. We also have the technology, machine and knowledge, and also certifications to make welding, laser cutting, laser etching, laser machining, grinding, stamping. We do have all those capabilities, and currently they are already aligned with the medical devices industry here in Costa Rica. So they work under the standards of the ISO for medical devices, but also you will find others that even they play with these rules of the standard for medical devices. They don't have certifications, and other that they do. That's important to mention because we can guide you to the correct ones, right? Because you will have some parts that you must produce them in a clean room, but there are others that might not, and also you may require some suppliers with certifications, but in other cases you may not. So that would make sense related to the cost and the different costs that will be presented in this kind of vendors, differentiating from the ones that not required to be certified and the ones, for example, that has to be certified. Even all of them playing under the same rules of the ISO 13485. Related to finish, you know, I won't stop much in here, but we not only have the capability, but we have the strong experience of developing new capabilities and new transfer and new validations and new knowledge just to fulfill your requirements. Molds and die, you can, you know, design, construct, and also maintain molds and dies here. We work with several raw materials as the you know, as the OEMs have been requesting, just to mention nitinol, titanium, and others that might make sense for you. We also work with, for example, just to mention needles, we are really expert in needles, sharpening needles, cutting, you know, marking, whatever you would require. Also mixing, for example, in those cases of needles, maybe it makes sense for you to have a supplier that can make this with a needle with laser technology, and inside their same facility can make overmolding to it, right? So it maybe it could make sense for you. We have several other services that I won't stop, but I just will continue on with the presentation, and we will make kind of detail, you know, we will detail some of those. Please, let's change the. Okay, cost-effective value proposition. Of course, it should make sense in cost, it should make sense in quality, and it should make sense in other things that I'm going to mention right away. Related to quality and process stability, we are, you know, our day by day is we are working with tolerances from thousandths of an inch to billionths of an inch. That related to well, in fact, that Six Sigma should not be there. It is, in fact, for another bullet, but it's just to mention that we are, you know, we can work with almost any requirement that you may have. If there is something with tolerances tighter than a nano specification on the part, that might be something we should develop. We should develop here. But if it is inside a thousandth part of an inch and a billionth part of an inch, we would feel fine with your requirements and your specifications. Our validation processes are aligned with installation qualification, operational qualification, and production qualification and process qualification. We are used to make first article inspection with AQL of 0 errors, C equals 0 for those who work with Minitab, and prove it in the different you know, limits of low, high, and also the medium. So we are used to work with this, for example, to make the first lots and make the first article inspections. Also, the process capability index that we can reach, it goes up to the requirements of the Six Sigma to be 2 point, you know, to be aligned with 2. This process capability index, but you know, if it's not required, we can also, you know, download it to maybe to 4 Sigma or whatever it would make sense for you. You know, getting lower and to 1.3 or around to reach the 4 Sigma if that's the spec you need, right? But we can reach the 6 Sigma just for you to have 3.4 parts from a million that could be out of specs. Also, we have strong quality controls in lines, and we empower the operators in lines to be aware of quality issues and take it out of the line. Of course, like this, it will follow just the regular processes for parts out of specs. Also, the document traceability and control, it's something that we are really strong, and our culture is, you know, really aligned, totally aligned with this kind of requirements. Measurement methods and calibration, you know, we are totally aligned with with the requirements of the industry that related to calibration. We are always, and also the operators and technicians and engineers are always looking to see if they identify any measurement machine out of specs, with already, with the date of calibration already passed or something. So that's not only, controlled by the department in charge of calibration and quality, but also by the operators that has the knowledge to raise the hand and say this is out of the date for calibration is passed. So that's something important to mention, because here you will find from the top managers to all the organization, operators, engineers, and everything are really aligned with the culture of quality for medical devices. I already mentioned related to clean room class 8, most common, but also class 7 if you required, or outside clean rooms, for example, a white room, if it's what's your specification and your requirements call. So productions, line transfer, we are experts in transfer. So we've been 33 years transferring medical devices, lines, sub-assembles, and complete products here to Costa Rica. We are used to audits, war rooms, and all the procedure that is related with let's say with FDA and other regulatory organizations around the world. Of course, I just mentioned corrective actions, preventive actions, as is something that it's work day by day, and it's something that not only it's known by the OEMs, not only known by the contract manufacturers, but also through it's a culture right now for all the vendors and all the ecosystem of medical devices. Thank you. So this is how it seems transferred to Costa Rica. We are cost efficient. This is not only because the overhead, for example, in the first part, that the cost is higher. For example, for a new product implementation, you see it starts with just less than a 9% of local Costa Rican participation on this product. But when it goes up almost to 80%, you can see that it decreased almost 35% of the cost. This is not only because of the forecast and the increase of the production orders, but also, and I want to focus on this one, we are really, we are used, and it's something we do each year. We are really focused in decreasing cost, but not only, as I mentioned, because of the overhead, but because of the engineering techniques of manufacturing. And I will mention here, for example, we will advise you regarding the cavities that you should have. This is an example for injection molding, but we will give you, suggestions in order to support your teams that are looking, for example, cost reduction programs. Okay, so if this is a headache for you, we have here the local knowledge and capability to advise you and to support you in this kind of cost reduction projects. Not only, again, because of the overhead, but about the knowledge, the design for manufacturing, so you will decrease scrap and other things. If we can change the slide, please. Okay, how we do business related to supply chain. Okay, so we have already these multinational OEMs linked with vendors in their inventory system to generate automatic alerts of reorder points. For example, this is something we have a lot of vendors already used to have this kind of relationship. Just in time. Also, we work just in time to minimize orders, quantities, and available space in your warehouse. So we try to have around, let's say, 6 rotations of the goods in warehouse, right, by the vendors. In that case, you will minimize the space in your warehouse and the order quantities. to the lower that makes sense for you. We have also favorite supplier programs that avoid incoming inspections when you, you know, by the inspections that you have done to a vendor for several and consecutive times. We already have these important medical devices OEMs having local favorite suppliers that avoid incoming inspections as the you know, previous results have been everything positive from last you know, orders. So supplier safety inventory, that's also something that we are used to have with our vendors, with our local vendors. So any issue you know that your vendor will have an safety inventory for you. You can align with him to define how big it should be, right? That's something for sure you will be able to directly with your suppliers or your contract manufacturers. Please, let's change. Okay, related to R&D, you know, we are really focused in problem solving in manufacturing, right? This is an example, and we have here a great friend that is assisting to this webinar that might be informed of this. This is, for example, a change from pad printing to laser etching. Those are kind of the R&D, you know, the changes that we can work on. This was in order to avoid scrap, because pad printing, you know, almost always have you know, high volumes of scrap because of the ink being moved, disattached, deattached, or not well printed in the medical in the devices. So these kind of changes change will decrease, for example, cost in ink, and will increase will decrease also cost in scrap. Will increase the you know, the satisfaction of the user, because it won't it would be really you know, as laser is, it would be really specific and tight with the requirements and the specifications. Okay, related to cost reduction programs, I mentioned a little bit you know, something a little bit before, but you know, how can we reduce scrap? That's something we work hard here. Each year, we try to generate, you know, cost reductions between 5 to 10% in some cases. So it could be related to decreasing scrap, time reduction, the reduction of material, or the optimization of the use of the material. And of course, it is all related to incremental value. Of course, again, for R&D, we are aligned or we have experience in new product introductions. So you can feel comfortable, you know, talking with our experts here. Related to certifications, we have the ISOs 9001, the one for medical devices 13485, the one for you know, sustainability, and several others related to laboratory testing and welding and some, you know, I just mentioned a few here, but this list is huge because it has been growing aligned to the requirements of the medical devices sector from around the world. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about a success story from Costa Rica. Okay, well, we have manufacturing here with high requirements. For example, in this case, I'm going to tell you about OK Industries that is supplying an important OEM for medical devices here in Costa Rica with nanomachining. This is important to mention because it's a technology that in this case is attached with other capabilities of this same vendor, not for in this case specifically, but this vendor has the capability of nanomachining, but also, for example, to do overmolding. So this is kind of the relation of the, you know, successful relationships that we want to show you not only from a midterm, but also to a long term. So this is the information I had for you. Thank you very much for your attention. And now I'll return the word to Michael. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David, for this presentation and for helping us clarifying the other two drivers for success and why we believe Costa Rica could be a really good market. Could you close the microphone, please? Just for a minute. Awesome. I want to turn this over to Luis Diego, who I introduced already. He's a member of the Med Supply and the manager of the medical device cluster of Costa Rica. Luis Diego.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be joining this space with you. Well, as Michael said, my name is Luis Diego Gutierrez. I represent the company Microbiología y Calidad Industrial, MCI. Our company has been a strategic ally for more than 10 years for the most important companies in the medical device, pharmaceutical, and food manufacturing sector in Costa Rica. Specifically, we provide services in the area of microbiological tests for quality assurance for both manufacturing environments, raw materials, as well as for the finished products. As Michael said, I'm member of the board of directors of the Costa Rica Medical Device Supply Cluster, that is known that is known as CR Med Supply. We are very happy to be part of this cluster because it has allowed us to collaborate closely with the largest companies in the medical device manufacturing sector in different projects that have made them to achieve greater competitiveness. And now maybe you are wondering what the CR Med Supply is. It is a group of companies, including some with up to 30 years of experience in the sector, which came together to offer medical device manufacturing companies integral solutions with high added value, where the different capacities of its members interact with the aim of offering highly competitive solutions. For this reason, CR Med Supply has become a strategic ally for companies in this sector in innovation, design, advanced engineering, manufacturing, packaging, sterilization, plastic transformation, quality control, logistics, and among others. All this with high international standards that support our processes and products. And in short, the CR Med Supply value proposition, as you can see in the slide, is focused on being a one-step shop which integrates a strategic location, experience, personalized and comprehensive solutions in a single source to access the most qualified Costa Rican suppliers. All this under a business model that allows its customers a strong cost reduction based on a diverse supply chain that is concentrated in a geographical area. And now I'm gonna tell you one of the many success stories that we have. This is a project that is currently underway with the company PavMed. In fact, this week, we signed the NDAs with the company, and in this project we managed efficiently and effectively to transfer the most important links in the supply chain of a medical device production line from China to Costa Rica. This change represents a significantly reduced for the costs of the company, but also its products entering the United States with Costa Rican origin, which allows them to pay preferential taxes compared to China due to the free trade agreement that the United States have with Costa Rica, as well as the many others that our country has with dozens of countries, as Michael mentioned before. And now we have a video about the cluster that maybe Michael, can you? Thank you. And let's see.
We can't hear, Michael. I don't know why.
Murphy's Law. I'm gonna stop sharing and then share again. This always happens. My apologies.
Thank you.
Even though we practice this.
Thank you. We can hear now.
Great. So thank you so much, Diego. Thank you, David, both of you for spending time and explaining more on the value proposition for reducing cost in any project of potential companies that are based out of Canada and based out of the US that wanted to bring their projects down to Costa Rica. Thank you so much. I know that we are over an hour already, but I just want to spend 2 minutes inviting you to join our yearly event. This is the Buyer's Trade Mission. The Buyer's Trade Mission is a matchmaking event. It's an opportunity that we offered to companies around the world to meet one-on-one our suppliers and providers. So what we do is that both the trade offices and our experts in Costa Rica will work together with you to develop a customized, personalized one-on-one business agenda, meaning that during 45 minutes, we want you to meet each one of these suppliers that probably could be your next business partner. What we do is that we gather Costa Rican manufacturers and buyers from all over the world in a new way. Of course, this way it's going to be virtual. We're going to use one-on-one meetings through a virtual system that will allow us to give you access to each one of them and evaluate the feasibility to develop this project through key players in the market. This making sure that we are going to understand your process. We are going to understand the objective of your company, and we are going to focus on your specific requirements. So the event, normally we normally have this event happening in Costa Rica. At this point, we will love to have you meeting us in a one-on-one format. This is going to be in October, and hopefully you can engage with us further. The way to get registered to this event is through our website, btmcr.com. We will be sharing this presentation with you, and of course, getting in touch after this call just to go over any other questions you might have, and of course, see if you will be interested in meeting our suppliers in a one-on-one basis. The most important part of here is you giving us the opportunity to understand your project, the need where you're going through, or the potential opportunity to develop new product, and then we getting a sincere, honest advice on what we can do well in each one of the processes that you could be interested to learn more about it. So this is what we have for today. I'm going to open the space for questions. And I see we have one question so far in the chat box. Peter, thank you so much for your question. And well, I saw some others, but this is more miscellaneous regarding the mic, and I see everybody can hear well. Hopefully you hear the whole presentation and it wasn't that disruptive, the echo. But Peter, you're saying he's saying here we also import in large volume of medical products and like more info, and you like more info from the manufacturers, of course, happy to. And how do you compare to certifications in North America, FDA? David, you want to answer this question? And
sure, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Can you just mute that going with the echo? Okay, thank you very much. I don't know. I'm still hearing the echo. Let me see if they're with the. Okay, well, I'll tell you. We have already contract manufacturers registered with the FDA related to North America and with other regulation organizations around the world. So this is, in this case, won't be a compare. Would be as is because it's FDA registration. I don't know if I answer your question.
Peter, if you want an extra explanation, please feel free to open your mic and ask your question.
So I appreciate. Looks like there's a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, there was kind of an echo, and there is still.
Yeah, my apology. I will ask Michelle to get in touch with you since you are in Vancouver, and then we can go over that specific question. My apology for that. Luis, you're asking, how can I find a custom wire and cable manufacturer in Costa Rica? Do any company in Costa Rica extrude custom wires? We do have capabilities in cables in Costa Rica and wiring, assembly. And the development and the performance of these customs designs will definitely be a capability that you can find in the country if that is the question in the terms of the assembly. We are that's one of our sweet spot as a country, to be honest. We had been able to get into the most important global chains in both electronics, aerospace, and medical device, thanks to the capabilities in cable and harnesses. David, you wanted to expand this answer?
No, just to that we have the capability of wires locally, and we will be glad to put you in touch with those specialized vendors and suppliers in the Buyers Trade Mission 2020.
Oh, absolutely, Luis. We will be in touch mainly because that's one of our sweet spots. To be honest, it's one of our core competencies as a country in electronics. So we will be in touch. Thank you very much for your question. If anybody else has a question, I know that it's 15 minutes past the hour. I just want to reiterate thank you so much, everyone, for joining the call. Thank you very much for everybody who make possible this webinar. And of course, thank you very much for your interest in Costa Rica. As I mentioned, we are a full network of expert folks in different areas where we believe we can help. And so please feel free to utilize our services. This is free of charge, and the only thing we want is to develop economic development for the country and for your companies. So looking forward to keep in touch with you. And with that said, I just want to say thank you very much. Have a nice day. Indeed.